Hey, John here again. So today's project is going to be a house project and windowsills in particular. This windowsill is foobarred, as you can see there at the bottom. It's all rotted out, that pine windowsill crap. So your options are to replace the window, but that's going to be times 4, right? 1, 2, these are molded together, so then you wouldn't want them to mismatch, so you'd have to do 4 of them, and that's going to cost, well, too much money. So we're going to do windowsills, and I'm not going to do the original wood windowsills. They are available, but you know, to take this window apart and do that, maybe 5-10 years from now we're going to be doing it again if it's wood again. See, the top eyebrow windows are vinyl clad, and if you can see it up there, there's nothing wrong with those windows, and they were put in the same time. These windows are older, they were repurposed, but we're going to do the same thing on the bottom as the eyebrow windows. We're going to do vinyl, PVC or whatever you want to call it, and that way it won't rot, and we'll, you know, get a little bit of life out of these windows. Alright, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do first, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do second. You know, I'll just fast forward through it just to make a quicker video, but I'm going to take and cut these windowsills right in two, right in the center there, and get them out and use a tool to kind of clean everything out and get everything cleaned up. And we're going to use well, also on the inside, I'll take you on the inside too, just to show you. Got to take some molding off. Ultimately, we're going to be sliding this windowsill out after everything's cut up and sliding a new one in. So I'm getting these windowsills at a place like Lowe's or Home Depot. They sell these windowsills that are, it's a 2-piece unit that are PVC, and we're going to use them. And also the uprights are going to be out of PVC. I'm probably not going to be taking all the uprights out because this brick molding is okay, except for the bottom corners there. Even on the other window, they're starting to get bubbly and rotten. So I'm going to cut them right about halfway because everything's so expensive, and we're just going to mend them together. And then once everything's painted up, you're not going to notice a difference. But the bottom two are going to be PVC on the corners here. And of course this will be PVC, and maybe a little bit of this PVC, I don't know yet. We've got to see how that looks as far as if there's damage to the wood or something. So the first thing I'm going to do is take off the windowsill, or I mean, I'll show you some of the molding here. Alright, so I'm going to take a knife underneath the molding just to cut if there's any, you know, bond for paint, so we don't peel the paint off too, and then get a pry bar under there just to ease that bottom molding off, and then do the same with this. You're just going to have to take your time with it, and, you know, because you don't want to rip the sheetrock or the paint, or, you know, get into something that it's going to require to get extra parts. But even so, if you do ruin something, or, you know, paint is one thing, but sheetrock, that's another thing, but it can be easily repaired. But just taking your time should be all right. Okay, here I'm just marking the locations where I want to do the cuts, and then I start using a X-Acto knife or a utility knife to score the paint in the silicone. Then I move to like a jam saw just to start the cut, and then one of those plunge cut tools with a you know, wood cutting blade that might cut some nails. And then here, just gingerly trying to pry this out. Again, that's why I scored on the outside with a utility knife, so I didn't want to affect, you know, at least the amount of paint as possible, or the siding. I have wood siding, so a little different than doing this with vinyl siding. But so here I'm just cleaning some of the stuff up with the X-Acto knife, and again with the jam saw, I'm starting, you know, cutting the uprights, or getting at least a groove in, because I'm going to move back to the well, right here I'm cutting two cuts each windowsill, because I'm going to pry up in the middle of the windowsill and get the you know, the major chunk out, because I still have some work to do with that jam saw on the uprights, because of the nails that, you know, the window casement's held together with, and this way I can pry up, as opposed to doing the whole windowsill. It's probably impossible, so you kind of need to get rid of some pieces. But so here I'm just using that power jam saw, I guess we can call it, to cut through the nails, and it's a flush cut, you know, so we're just it's basically a jam saw, but, you know, electric. And then we could just pry out the, you know, the rest of the windowsill. So I'll get you a little closer. So the reason I took the knife and cut this, because I didn't want any paint to peel, right? That's pretty obvious. There is silicone or whatever, you know, barrier there. So I was able to cut through that, and then taking this off very gingerly, because again, I don't want to, you know, affect the paint as much as possible. I mean, I don't care about the paint really, but then we scraped it a little bit, and this is pretty much even. There's no nails. Same thing here in the middle. We did get lucky. This is just dangling now. It doesn't appear to be any, you know, water damage as far as you know, major water damage, other than the windowsill. Even this is red cedar siding, so it's pretty water resistant. But I was just looking in there. I think we're all set. We got lucky with that. Same thing over here. I'll clean this up a little bit more, but I went down and you know, with the knife and just kind of smoothed everything out, because when we put our new brick molding in, I'll have to clean that up a little bit. Our new brick molding needs to be flush, obviously, but we got to marry it up to this fella, and this is wood still. Now I elected not to go all the way up, because you can see up there's a rain guard. I didn't want to get into that, because maybe these are tacked, you know, at a corner, and to get it out, it might be problematic. Plus there's these little brackets for the screen. So I'm just gonna, like I said, we'll use some silicone, white silicone, or whatever, window sealer, and we'll, you know, squirt it in there and meet them up together, and then we'll finish it off with whatever we're going to do, sand or paint it to make it look you know, presentable. Anyways, that's where we're at. So we also cutting that windowsill out. The shims remained. Well, the shims remained at least on the ends there, and this end over here where we cut out didn't quite make it. I took a little piece of sheetrock out, but I think the molding will cover that, so I'll get that out of there. This is plugged in there, and we'll still use the same shim there for the angle, like 15 degrees, whatever it is. So I was just doing a little dry run. So this stuff it's PVC, but it cuts like wood, you know. It's just plastic, and it's a two-piece unit. So there's like a bull nose that goes on the top of this. So when you, I was just dry fitting everything to make sure everything fits in the groove. And like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and you know, silicone all this anyways, but and then the bull nose comes, you know, when you cap it off, because my entire window is like 75.5, so we'll cut this to 75.5, and the bull nose is obviously going to have to come over here like a windowsill, right? And then your vertical goes down and sits on top of it. Well, I'll show you that in a second. But I am compromised over here. I have a scrap piece. I was just fitting it under here, right? And it is compromised. I didn't think it was, but so I'm going to have to replace a piece of this siding. It doesn't appear that the actual sill is compromised, but I have some extra siding. So and it's already painted up. So and I already made a slit here, so I think I can get this off no problem. I'll deal with this later, but yeah, it appears that everything else is hunky-dory. The old sill, or the old framing. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little, you know, silicone in the cracks here in the corners. I'm also going to do it later, but I'm just going to get it now while we can. I'm not going to add a piece on the edge here, just because when we, sitting right there, when we shove this through, I don't want to push over, because we still got to glue that bull nose on, right? So we do have to set this first, but like I said, I'm just going to add it in the corners just for, you know, bugs or whatever the hell. Alright, so we got it pushed in. Just want to be flush with this, right? I'll clean that stuff up, tuck it back in with a putty knife, but you want to be flush, right, with everything, and it's flush there. It is not flush there, but this thing is swingable, or, you know, movable, so we'll have to move it in. And same thing over here, flush on the front, right, because we're going to add this bull nose. Again, I'm going to clean that silicone up or stuff it in there. We're going to add this bull nose, you know, right across here with glue. And what kind of glue? I don't know. I'm just going to use, you know, PVC glue, like we stick pipes together. I think that's going to work just fine. Alright, because there's no directions as far as this sill goes, this PVC stuff, I'm going to treat it like siding. This is wood siding, but like PVC siding, how it buckles or expands and contracts. I did leave about an 1/8 inch on each of these, and I filled it in with the flexible silicone, right, on both sides. And I'm also going to do with the bull nose this way. I'm not going to quite go to the edge, 77 3/4 to the edge here. I don't want to jam it in there and then have this thing try to expand and everything and, trying to poke out. So I'm going to leave an 1/8 of an inch on both sides, and then we'll fill it in, like I said, with the silicone, flexible silicone stuff that's paintable and all that. So it'll definitely be watertight, but also flexible in a certain way, because this stuff's pretty thick. I seriously doubt it's going to, with the sun or the, contract and expand. I seriously doubt that. There's no directions on it, but that's why I'm going to leave just a hair. So just like the regular brick molding, they do mimic. So this is where it gets plugged in this channel, but underneath there's a couple of channels, and I'm assuming, just like the regular brick molding, that this is the windowsill. So this is a 15-degree slope, and then the water hits here and then it drips down. But underneath, there's a couple of tracks where it can't really sneak back under because there's a 15-degree slope, but water doesn't travel uphill. So all these channels. So I'm assuming that's what's going on with all these channels. But this is the one we need. That's the one we got, and we'll just plug it in there. So I am going to do a little experiment here because I have this stuff, which belongs when you buy the caps to a vinyl fence or a railing system. This stuff comes with it, the white PVC cement. So I'm going to do a little test on it, see if that works, and then we're going to just do the regular clear PVC cement on 2 pieces here. I've got some scrap stuff. We're just going to glue it together, see which one sets up fastest, see which one holds, right? We're going to do one with clear cement, this stuff, and one with the white stuff that came with the fencing. And we're going to be pretty liberal with this stuff, right? And just like a pipe, I'll get on my finger. It'll be sticky for the rest of your life. Just like the pipe, we're going to go ahead and do both sides, right? Stick that together. Oops. Stick it together right. Alright, so that's the way. And there's actually a gap in there. And I'm assuming the gap is, let me show the gap. I'll hold this. So the gap is, I'm assuming there's a little bit of gap here in case you got some undulating, if your windowsill is not exactly square all the way across, there's a little bit of play. Not much, but a little bit. So, like the pipe, this stuff's pretty fast. Actually, I might be using the clear regular cement stuff. That stuff is like hammered in there. Holy crap. I'm actually putting some pressure on this thing. That can't be that freaking strong. No way. I can't believe that stuff. Okay, so it's you're going to puncture it with the cap. So this is the white stuff. And again, it's like 6 or 7 years old. I have no idea. Let's see if this stuff works even better. I don't know if the 2 little things are going to be enough, actually. I'll just hold that in place for a sec. This looks like the white. And this looks like the clear. So, how are we going to test this? I don't know. Get a pair of channel locks, try to break it off. I don't know. Let's just. They seem to be locked in there. And moreover, this is a windowsill. Nobody's going to be, you know, breaking stuff. But I have to know, right? So this is the white stuff. It's been about an hour. That's actually pretty good. I don't think it cracked. Wow. I'm putting a lot of pressure on that. And that's pretty good. This is the clear stuff. I got my fingers on here, but I'm putting a lot of pressure on both of these. Huh. So I'm not sure which one to use. I'm just going to go with the clear just because I got way more of it and it's easier to applicate it, right? Because we can not only do the groove, right? We're going to get some of the face here. So once it, you know what I mean? Like we can do the whole thing, as opposed to that stuff in a tube. We can get it in a groove for sure, but getting it on the face and everywhere else probably going to be problematic. And this stuff sets up pretty quick, so it's not like we have a lot of time. So you could probably just stand there and hold it in place, I'm sure, but I wanted to give a little gap here on both sides, and we clamped it in place just for good measure. And then, like I said, when we go ahead and paint everything up or caulk everything up, we'll go ahead and do everything. But this is what I was getting at. So the down, the brick molding that's going to come down. Now we have a place where it's going to, sit onto, and we can silicone this and everything. Again, I just got to clamp it in place. I'm going to leave it for about an hour or so, and I'm sure that's going to be fine. So to get a pretty precise cut, I'm going to measure. So the brick molding is going to come down here, and the heel is going to fit here. So I'm going to just go sideways with that, and then just get a measurement that way. And I'm going to measure from the heel to the cut, which is. So this stuff is obviously omnidirectional, right, until you cut it. So you have to be aware that this is the outside. We're working on the left side of the window, so it's going to look like this, right? This is the outside, this is the inside towards the window, so we need to cut the bottom at a 15-degree angles. Most windows, I don't think I've ever seen a window that wasn't 15 degree, but just put your saw at 15 degrees, and we're going to cut. We're going to cut the angle this way, right? So it slopes down. I don't know if you can see that, right? So basically we're going to have this angle. So the centerpiece is the same thing, 15-degree angle, and they sell the stuff at Home Depot. It's exactly the same stock as what was here. It's just 3/4 inch by whatever this is, 1.5 inches. With the measurement is, perfect. So then we just, now I just gotta, I'm gonna go ahead and use that white silicone stuff and silicone everything up and use the old finger and smooth everything out so it's all sealed up pretty good. So I'm gonna do that now. So I noticed there's a little bit of a crack here, even though this is plastic on plastic. I don't want water getting in there and seeping, even though it's glued and everything. And I'm also gonna paint it, but what I did is just threw some of this window caulk. Sets up in like 20 minutes, but just put a bead in, right, and then just took a piece of paper and kind of just used your finger, smushed it in there. But now you can see there's absolutely no gap whatsoever, and we're going to be good and watertight. Like I said, the glue is in there, but I just, for extra measure, we'll just keep forcing it in the crack here because, again, I don't want it to leak. But I got to do another bead here, and then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Around here, we'll force it in the cracks, all the cracks, right, and just go right around, and just keep siliconing everything before we, put our uprights on. And also, when we put our uprights on, we're gonna also do a bead, just like just in the corner here. It'll smush out, and then, who cares if it gets on the paint? I gotta paint it this anyways. Probably end up getting. I got this paint too. We'll paint everything, make it look good. But I want to get this thing watertight because that's what started this whole thing somehow. Water got in there, and well, here we are. Yeah, so we got everything nailed down there, stapled down there, whatever you want to call it, nail, brad nail, and went ahead and filled out everything, and caulked, and just forced it in there, and basically my finger wiped it off. And so we're gonna paint this first, right, the brown, and then we'll go ahead and feather it in, like we did over here, to make it look nice. So everywhere there's a seam, I made sure there's enough, caulk squirting out, and then we smoothed it out. And again, we're going to paint this. I don't think there's a need to sand this. If you step, it's like you could see that seam from here, and once we paint it up, you'll probably still be able to see it, but you step back a little bit and you won't be able to see it, I'm sure. But anyways, all right, so this is the top piece of the interior. I was going to wait to paint this. I was going to paint this first and put this over it, because I didn't, because this is a little bit stained, but I can see there's paint, so I must have painted that windowsill at one point. But so we're just going to put it on now from the outside here, but you can see how this thing flexes. Again, this is the top piece, and then the molding goes under it that goes over to sheetrock and stuff. So this is kind of just on top, but if you about this much on top of the sill here. But I just want to make sure it's halfway level here. Just get it level, do a few tacks, then move on to the inside, and we'll get the molding done on the inside. Yeah, so one other thing, so I had a big gobbing bead on all these down slopes, and I just set it up for 20-30 minutes, and then took my finger, wiped off the excess, and then you can get in there, because it's kind of tacky now, like this stuff here. Just it's like almost like an eraser, right? It just comes right off, and we'll clean everything up. But once we get everything smoothed out pretty good, when we paint this, it'll look like a factory. No gaps, no way water can get in there. It's all kind of water sealed up right now, but once we add paint, that'll be good. Alright, so tomorrow we'll pick this up with paint and everything. So I just closed the windows, and let me take you in the inside to show you that we button that up. So the exterior, we just need to paint and finish it up out here, but I think we're almost done. Let me show you the inside right quick. So behind the couch here is the piece we were just working on is this top piece, and you probably can't see it because it's dark in here, but there's a bottom piece, so it's a two-piece unit. So that sill, we just have to level it, and we tacked it underneath the window there, as you saw. And then this bottom piece, we just shoved up, made everything level, this way, and tacked it across, all the way, across. So that's the interior. Everything's back to normal back there. Again, you can't see, it's bad lighting, but that's the original windowsill, and everything's back together. No cracks, no leaks. I don't see any air coming through or light. That's cool. So we got it done. It looks pretty decent. I am going to have to paint it over. It started raining, and I got some water drops here. Water drops I'm going to have to deal with. You can't really see them, but they're there. And so it won't rot. Now it's all PVC. This is PVC. That's PVC. This is PVC over here. So the corners all the way up to, midway up the window, up to the seam here. It's all plastic. Can't rot. I'm good with that. I am going to have to go ahead and paint everything. This is probably sun faded. Isn't quite a color match, as you can see. But I don't care about that. A little painting is better than, so I started peeling back some of this stuff. This windowsill is still solid, but look, it started wicking here, right? And that's just a matter of time before it gets into the windowsill. I mean, technically we could just replace this with PVC, even that. Well, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing, is what I'm getting at, and do this right. And then we'll have a nice PVC windowsill and not have to worry about rot. Alright, well anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. On a scale of 1 to 10, I don't know. This is, it's not hard to do. It's just, matter of doing it, really. There's no really special tools. There's no really, special... anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. See you next time.